Hi there, I'm Jennifer Elizabeth Masters. So the subject today is, why should I bother doing inner work? And what's all the hubbub about doing spiritual inner work? What's going to matter whether I do it or don't do it? And we're going to look at what happens if we don't, what happens if we do, and how we're going to feel if we don't, and how our life can turn around and be if we do. What is spiritual inner work? Well, it could be a variety of things. It could be that we decide to hire a coach and we do energy work and energy healing, and we have the coach help us examine our issues and challenges. Maybe we've had a few marriages that didn't work out, and we've discovered that our relationships are a problem. And when our relationships become a problem on a regular basis, then, after a while we start realizing, oh, it wasn't him. Oh, it wasn't her. The common denominator in all the relationships I've had was me. And that's what I discovered. It was a rude awakening, like a wet towel thrown in the face or a wet blanket. It absolutely was a shocker to me when I finally realized, hey, you know what? You're the cause of all these problems. You are the one that is suffering. You are the one that feels like a victim. So therefore, you're being victimized. And, it was a long time ago. Hi, Lisa. How are you? Great to see you. I have to squint to see. So what we're talking about, Lisa, is inner work and what it means. So I was in my 30s, and I had already discovered some issues and challenges, lots of trauma. We all have trauma. We all have PTSD from something that our parents did or didn't do. We feel unloved. And I'm here to tell you that no matter how wonderful our parents are, and plenty of them are, we're still going to end up with some sort of trauma from somewhere. And what's the purpose of that? Well, the trauma is so that we will discover that, oh, I could have had a V8. I could have done some inner work. That is what the trauma is for. The trauma is this wake-up call. Wake up. Do something differently. Look at yourself instead of blaming everybody else. So we're going to talk about that from a couple of different perspectives. So let's just say that you go through life and you don't do any inner work. You choose, and you decide for yourself, nah, I'm good. I'm fine. I'll be vaping over here in the corner. I'll be drinking my margaritas. I'll be drinking half a gallon of wine a week. I'll numb myself, and I will end my suffering that way. That's how I'm going to deal with my suffering. And plenty of people on the planet do. Look at all the people that are smoking pot every day. So what happens if you do not do inner work? Well, you're going to continue to suffer. You're going to continue to find that life is shitty, that your relationships are shitty, that they're challenging, that you can't communicate with one another, that you're afraid of intimacy, or that all your partners cheat on you. And those things are going to continue to happen, and you may end up finding that that you get the wake-up call with cancer, whether it's breast cancer or colon cancer or prostate cancer, or maybe COPD, or we could go through a litany of things that people have. You could have kidney failure from taking medication from all the illnesses that you have because you haven't dealt with your stuff. So that's the worst case, right? We could die young. We could be sick and suffer with all kinds of health issues and challenges, depression, anxiety. So if you have either of those, it is your body it's saying, hey, hello, pay attention over here. So for me, I'll just give you an example with my own life because I know it well. I had fibromyalgia, I had algae. I might have held algae, I don't know. I had fibromyalgia, Epstein-Barr, and autoimmune disease. I had sinus infections, bladder infections. I was sick a lot. Missed a lot of work. I was pretty unhappy in my relationships, and my job wasn't fulfilling. I jumped around from job to job, and I moved around a lot too. So even when I lived in the same town, in the same state, I would move from place to place, because as soon as I would move to one place, I'd go, oh well, this is not the one. This is not it. I don't like the kitchen. I don't like the way this feels. The basement is spooky. So then I would start looking for another place, but I'm tied in for a 2-year lease. Oh boy, now I have to suffer for 2 years with this place because I was never satisfied. Just breathe that one in. You're never satisfied. Nothing is ever enough. You can't be filled, whether it's, whether it's drugs, alcohol, or spending. You do all these things to try and fill yourself so that you feel better. And those are all numbing agents, whether it's eating cookies and ice cream every night in front of the boob tube, numbing yourself out watching Vampire Diaries or a Game of Thrones, or whatever it is that you use to numb yourself. Hi, Paul. So numbing devices don't have to be substance. It could be sex. It could be work. Maybe you throw yourself into your work. But here's the thing. When we start doing inner work, then we recognize that what we feel inside, we often project outside. What we think and we focus on is what we create more of. Hello from Sweden. Hello. That's awesome. It's awesome. I'd love to hear where everybody else is from. So I have been to Switzerland, not Sweden, so that it's on my must-do list. So when we do inner work, we start to look at who we are. We start to look at who we are as a person. And I will tell you, for the longest time, I had people telling me, you need to spend time alone. Well, that was the last thing I wanted to do. I felt like I needed to have a guy to be happy. And that was a while ago. That's not true for me anymore, but for the longest time, I needed to have someone to make me feel whole, because I felt empty. I felt lost. I suffered. I would make a decision and then I wouldn't feel comfortable with it. Like I just said about moving, it didn't matter. I'd buy a dress and then I'd be unhappy with it. It wasn't the right dress. I'd take it back. So this dissatisfaction with life, dissatisfaction with relationships, a lot of health issues. You may have anxiety, numbness, depression, all kinds of things. And all of those illnesses are signposts that you need to do something differently. Maybe you're overweight. Maybe you stuff your face to make yourself feel better. There's a lot of different ways that we hit the wall. I hit the wall for many different reasons. And so what I started to do is I started to look inside. I started to ask questions, and I started to listen for the answers. I asked questions about me. Why are all my relationships turning to shit, is what I asked. Why are they all so shitty? Why are men all so shitty? I don't mean that that's so, but that's how I felt, because I'd been cheated on. And when we feel bad about ourselves, then we point the finger and blame everybody else. And it's us that needs to change. And when we change, when we start looking at ourselves differently, and we start recognizing, we need to forgive, we need to stop focusing on the past. But part of the thing with the past is, and this is really important, we might be feeling shame. We might be feeling guilt. You know, if we've had abuse or molestation in our childhood, or that could still be causing us to feel shame and guilt. So we have to forgive ourselves for whatever our part was. We have to forgive ourselves and let go of the past. We have to let go of regret, let go of disappointment. Part of the healing process is in the letting go. We have to let go of expectations. And instead of looking for love out there, we start to look for it in here. And so when we start turning our attention to us and looking at, oh, who am I? What is it I'm feeling? Do I feel regret? Well, then what do I feel regret about? And then when we start working on forgiveness and letting go of the way we feel about it, we heal the guilt, we heal the shame. We start loving ourselves in spite of all our foibles, our warts, whatever it is that we have. And everyone has them. But each of us, you know, each of us is unique, and we all deserve love. Every single one of us deserves love. So I'd love to hear from you. What have you discovered about you that you didn't know before? And what kind of spiritual work have you done? What kind of inner work have you done? I especially want to hear from you guys. Men today are being called on the carpet for looking towards their women as being their emotional dustbusters, the emotional sponge, their therapist, their healer, their psychologist. So do you find that so? Do you lean on your women, or do you hire a coach or a healer? What are you doing for your own personal self-growth? I'd love to hear from you. So just let me see down below. So for me, it took a number of years, but lots and lots of self-introspection. I read lots of books, and Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life, and then her You Can Heal Your Body, were two of the most important books that I read. But I also read Prescription for Nutritional Healing, because I started recognizing that my thoughts were making me sick, because I hated myself. I didn't realize it. I thought I loved myself. But it's the unconscious thoughts that are really, they're really the ones that are rocking our world and our boat and our life. And so we've really got to get our unconscious thoughts reprogrammed, so that we love and approve and love and accept ourselves. So what happens when you do inner work? Well, life becomes better. You stop suffering. Your relationships improve. People are drawn to you because you radiate inner light. You start to manifest in the moment whatever you want. Life becomes easier. You become happier. You're not lying awake at night worrying about whether you can feed your family or your cat, because you're in abundance. So when we do this spiritual growth, when we do this introspection, and we start to heal these past events, we start to feel better. We start to enjoy life more. We have way more joy, play, and love. So without spiritual work, without inner work, what happens is we will end up dying in misery. And if you don't want to die in misery, I highly recommend that you read my blogs. I have all kinds of blog posts that could help you. You could Google suffering and my name, Jennifer Elizabeth Masters. You could Google, there's doves flying all around here. You could Google addiction, and my name. Okay, so Liza, how do we uncover our unconscious thoughts and beliefs? Excellent question. Okay, so well, one of the ways we can do that, I do this for my clients because I'm intuitive and I pick up on these things. So you can see, look at your relationships and see what are your relationships telling you about you. Are your relationships ending because the other person cheats? So if that is the truth, if that's what's happening, then perhaps you have an issue with abandonment, and maybe your father or mother didn't love you. And so underneath, so it's like, let me ask the question, where have I felt this before? Where have I seen this issue before? Where have I felt like this in the past? And then see what answers you get. Okay, let me see. Hello, Ashley. I love you, Ashley. Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. Ashley's been working with me weekly for a while, and so that's the answer. Is that a lot of the unconscious beliefs that we have, we don't know. So let me just say, I discovered an unconscious belief. This was about 5 or 6 years ago, maybe. And, consciously I was thinking I would like to date. I'd like to have a partner. But unconsciously, it took me a little while to realize I had this unconscious belief, I don't need a man. Because, I've been on my own a long time. I've done a lot of healing. I'm very independent. I'm self-sufficient. I'm not looking for someone to rescue me any longer, which was something that I did wish for many years ago, but not anymore. So when nothing's happening, so you're thinking in your mind, I want this thing. I want a relationship, but no relationships are forthcoming. Then you may start to question, okay, so what is standing in my way of not attracting a relationship? Is it that I'm too fat? No, it's not that. Is it that I'm too ugly? No, it's not that. Is it that I feel unworthy? No, it's not that. Is it that I don't feel like I'm enough? And you feel in your body, what does that feel like to you? So I started questioning, and finally I started to laugh because I heard I don't need a man. It just kind of bubbled up, and I was going, holy cow, my silent mantra, I don't need a man. And I had said it out loud actually quite a few times. See, Jennifer, you don't need a man. You can hang this picture. See, Jennifer, you don't need a man. You can lift this box, tote that bale. You can fix your car. You don't need a man because you can pay for your own way. You have got it going on. You don't need a man. So that was my unconscious program, and it was like a big. It's like putting one foot on the brake and one foot on the gas. So you've got one foot on the accelerator, but a foot on the brake at the same time. So that's how I did it. I questioned. I asked lots of questions. And you could ask, what is it that's stopping me? I'm going to see if I can see. Okay. So I am going to take just a little quick break here. I want to put my dog, Yoda, where are you, buddy? Yoda. Everybody's out here. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So does anybody have any other questions? Because I would be delighted to answer them. It's a beautiful night here, and this was coming up, like what is inner work and what happens when we don't do it. So let me just give you an example. I was married, and my husband came home from a ski trip, and he his arms, you know, when he went to hug me, were like a limp noodle. Like, you know, he didn't, it was kind of like this, like a half-hearted hug. You could tell he didn't want to hug me. And when we went to bed, he wasn't interested in becoming intimate either. And he'd been gone for, you know, 10 days or something like that. And so when he rejected me, I got out of bed. And imagine that. Yes, he did. I got out of bed and you're welcome. You're welcome. And I sat down at my computer and I started asking questions. Why would this happen? He's been gone a week. What might have happened on the ski trip? I just kept asking question after question after question and just listening for the response. What did it feel like? And, you know, your high self will come in and will respond. Ask a question and wait and listen. See what the answer is. See what it feels like. So tap into your high self. When we do questioning, like it's like channeling. You could do it with a pen and a paper, and you're going to tap into your high self that way. You'll get answers from your high self, and that's a really good way to get some help and guidance. So is anybody else? I'm going to just take one more question, and then we'll wrap it up. I appreciate you being here. Okay, I'm just going to give you 30 seconds. I'm going to put this kitty inside here. Let it inside. Go, 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 go. Anybody have another question before I go? Well, I've enjoyed being here with you, and thank you for responding. And if you have any suggestions for future videos, if there's something in particular you would like to ask me, you can send me an email, jenniferelizabethmasters@gmail.com, jenniferelizabethmasters@gmail.com. And I'd be glad to. And you can go to my website, jenniferelizabethmasters.com, and check the business card. There's a business card tab at the top left, and click that. There's help for depression and anxiety. There is a self-love quiz. There's a depression quiz. There's a wealth package. There's 2 wealth packages actually to help you with manifesting. And that is my joy. And also, if you sign up for my newsletter on my website, you get a free download, and that is my beginner's guide for manifesting. And, you know, you could be an advanced manifester, but if you've got any issues with manifesting, this book will help to give you the answers that you need. So thank you again for being here, and sending you so much love. And don't forget to do that